Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different, or I should say, I'm going to do something a little bit different. You can see here I'm running Arch Linux 64-bit version on a real hardware, and I booted my first boot up was April the 17th, which was Sunday. Today is Monday. So yesterday, I spent a little time and I installed the EZArcher. Close this out, close that out, get rid of that nonsense, close the window anyway. This is Mr. Eznix's channel, and I do call him Mr. Eznix because I have the greatest respect for the man. That's just the way my dad taught me. Sorry, Mr. Eznix, if that bothers you, let me know and I'll just call you Eznix. However, this is Mr. Eznix's YouTube channel, and Mr. Eznix has produced his own ISO for quite a while now, and he calls it the EZArcher. And on his same webpage, YouTube channel, you'll find a playlist that covers everything in here covers the EZArcher. Up until this point, it had different ways of installing Arch Linux. One being the guide that would give you a step-by-step process right out of the wiki. You might say a wiki install. The other one is an install script and the Calamares installer. But because Arch Linux has been developing their own installer here for a little while, he shows us how to actually incorporate that Arch Linux installer into his ISO. So now you have 4 ways to install Arch Linux. This is one where he finally decided, it even says finally, he just finally decided to start doing a little theming. And when I saw this video on the 13th, I said, I'm going to take another look at the EZArcher project because I really, really do. Let me minimize this for 1 second here. Now, I customize my own wallpaper. He don't have any wallpapers on his own. He has some, what does he call them? Basically accumulated. Anyway, I made my own wallpaper. Let's go to my start menu. I've only made a couple just small changes, and that was for my benefit here, like the start button itself. You go to your properties and you can tell it to show the icon and the title, which was selected by default, set up by Mr. Eznix. And all I did was change the logo and the title. As far as the rest of it goes, the menu goes, it's set up exactly the way I would have done it myself. And let's see, we'll go through my favorites real quick. Featherpad I installed. File Manager with Thunar comes in by default. OBS Studio, Kdenlive, Audacity, and Krita. The GNOME System Monitor I installed. GUVC View was installed by default. As well as the system screen recorder, and hard info I installed. Mail reader, I've left it there. I don't know why, but I'm extremely happy with my system here. It's been running everything I wanted to look at and do. I've been able to do it. I actually made. Sorry about that. Let me get that out of the way again here. I actually started working on some videos. That's the one we're looking at right now. It's building there. You can see I've got an EZArcher category, and I've part 1. I went through this, and I made a video installing Arch Linux using the EZArcher. But you just can't do the system justice by installing it, and unless you actually use it. And I guess that's why I'm excited, because I'm using it and it's working fine. If you want to if you're interested in downloading the files, this is his SourceForge link page. And if you'll come here, you get a description of it, a synopsis, if you will. It tells you how to do it. It tells you a lot of stuff about the easy maintenance script. Well thought out. tease him because I keep saying I'm waiting on a book, and he says this is his book. And if you just follow his channel and then do some of the reading and watching, you could write a book. So on SourceForge, click on the ISO, and here's the ISO I downloaded. And they all have the scripts in them, so you're downloading an XFCE, but you do actually have an opportunity to change the script to install anything you want to. You can get the download here, the ISO, as well as some templates he builds for you. One of the biggest things that he has done for the Linux and Arch Linux community in specific was he's made it visible on how to easily, once you get used to it, easily build your own Arch Linux ISO. And I did that back when he first started doing this. I downloaded his link, copied it verbatim, what I needed to copy, and I went through point at a time till I got through. When I finally got through and built my working ISO, it was 3.9 gigs. Just the ISO. Anyway, I had a blast doing that, and he freely shares how to do this stuff, which is just beyond awesome if you ask me. This guy does a lot of work, and he's doing it for nothing. I mean, apparently for nothing visible anyway. I just think that says a lot for Mr. Eznix. And you can also go to the osdn.net page and get your download here as well, and you can read most of, not all, the information here as well. And one thing that he does differently in his ISO is, if in most ISOs that you download that are going to be an Arch Linux spin, if you would, it's going to, if it includes a AUR helper, it's more than likely going to include yet another whatever it was, yet another something. Anyway, he included Trizon, and so I can't get a theme that I want through Pacman, so I'm gonna have to use AUR, and that theme is the XFCE theme Graybird. Let's just bring that up here, and I'm gonna say Trizon capital S lowercase s and XFCE Graybird theme. Note theme Graybird. And let's let it look. And there it is. So right here. And it's coming from the AUR. I'm going to go ahead and just install that. So Trizon space capital S. And instead of typing it, I'll just copy and paste it here. Copy. Paste. And let's install it. Okay, I do not want to edit the package build. I'm good with it more than likely. Now, if this was something different, a program that you was interested in doing the package or editing the package build, there was your opportunity right there. And so that's how Trizon works. It works identical to every other AUR helper I've used. And now we should have the Graybird theme. Let's see if we do. Parents and Graybird start. That's the one I wanted. And that's how Trizon works. So going back to Mr. Eznix's channel, I struggled on what I could say that would be different than what I've heard other people say. The only thing that I can tell you is if you're watching my channel, you probably should be watching his channel as well. He has been one terrific resource for me in my Arch Linux journey. And before I installed Slackware this last time, I made sure I watched every video that he had on Slackware. He's a wonderful teacher. And, you know, there's several others out there that are doing great things and have awesome channels as well. But this is not about them. This is about the EZArcher. wanted to show you something. Now, when you boot into your live system, it's going to have a folder in there called the EZArcher. And if you'll notice, it's a little arrow right there. Now, in the Windows world, that would be represented as a shortcut, and here it's represented as a symlink. And I've been told there's a difference, but they seem to work the same. So if I right-click on that folder or directory, and I go to properties, it tells me that it's linked to user share EZArcher. And you can go to that. You wouldn't have to go to, you can go to it now. If you make a change, let's see, user share. EZArcher. Now, if I go in here on any one of these and open it up and I make any kind of change, it's going to ask me for a root password. Once I give it that, it's going to make the change here, but it'll also make the change in the symlink. And what I want to really talk about, though, is you'll have this on your system to use continuously if you like. And learn from, like the docs. Here we got easy maintenance, how to install, how to auto cache your clean, clean your cache, running Pac-Man hooks. If you go to the guides, here's the Arch Linux install guide, what you might call a wiki guide. I'll bring that up real quick, and you can see right off the bat, he's telling you everything to do, everything that he recommends you doing, Mr. Eznix. And I have not been steered wrong by him at all. Here you can see what will be installed during the base installation of a UEFI GPT installation. That's just for the base. If you go on further down, you'll see that you'll have the opportunity to install a bunch of stuff. I mean, a bunch of stuff. And for me, this category right here is probably one of the most important. You can find these, every one of these you can find on the Arch Linux wiki. There's a website, it's called Package Text or the packages, I forget what it's called, but if you just look up Arch Wiki packages, you'll find it. I looked, when I first saw his list of streamers and transcoders and codecs, what have you, I looked every one of them up, and every one that I found on the wiki was listed here. He also, on this version or this newest releases, he's included support for Bluetooth, pulse audio jack. It's just a tremendous amount of work that this man has put forth into making it easy. And I do mean easy. If there is nothing hard about his methods of installing, whether you want to use this guide and install it the wiki way, or if you want to run a script to install it through the script. Now, if you do decide to run a script, I'll go back up here where I belong, out of the root folder, go to the EZArcher, go to scripts, and say you wanted to install using his install script, BIOS or UEFI. Okay, so this is how you would start that process. Yeah, let's go to root first, and then we'll CD into, and instead of writing all that out, copy and paste it, hopefully. Copy, paste, and we'll go there. Now, if we LS, you'll see the scripts are here. Now, if you've decided you wanted to use his script to install it either in BIOS or UEFI mode, you're already in root, so all you need to do is type in the what it is you want to, and once it gets to a certain point, and you could tab complete, like here you could tap U and it would complete because it knows that's the only thing there. Same way with the maintenance. We'll go ahead and run that just like if this is exactly how you would run this script to make that install for you. It's automated. I'm going to get out of here. We just looked at that, I believe. All right, now, one thing you can do too, with FeatherPad, if you're going to use the install script, it's highly recommended that you do all your partitioning to your hard drive and port your hard drive, format your hard drives, and mount them the way you want them, and then start the script. And you'll bypass all of that. You'll have to direct it to SDA or NVMe or whatever your device is, that you'll have to direct it there. Once you do that, you're through with that step. You keep going. But here's a script that you're going to see, and you can go in here and change these scripts. Here's the swap size and the partitioning I was talking about. You'll skip this if you do your own partitioning. Let me back up and show you this. Otherwise, swap size, there it is. Otherwise, you'll be limited to a swap size of 2, 4, or 8 gigabytes of swap. On the root, you'll be limited to 20, 40, or 60 gigabyte hard drives or partition. So I recommend, if you're going to run this script, do the partitioning yourself. Once it's mounted, then go open up the script and bypass. I can't run the script, or I could show you, but once you get to a certain choice, once you get to these choices, you'll just direct it. They'll be say, which disk do you want to use? You put in your disk, and then at that point, I think you can get out of there. I'm pretty sure. All right, and again, anything in here that you want to change, like the initial pack strap, you could add to this. You could take this off if you don't want. Say for some strange reason you didn't want DOSFS tools, which you're going to want with EFI system partitions anyway. But just say you didn't. Just take it out before you start the script. Then once the script goes, it'll just leave it right out and go right on. Or the kernel, like here, it's got Linux LTS. You may want the Linux kernel. So make that change before you run the script. Other than that, the script it's basically just 1, 2, 3, and X. Here's a list of all the some extra packages that are going to come or elected. I believe this might be under general category. I think this one, well, I know this one is under the multimedia. So you'll have the option to not install or bypass this or install any of this. A lot of this stuff I got all of it. So let me close that out before I do something I don't need to do. And I'm not sure how much more I can say about the EZArcher system. It works. And if I would have discovered him just recently, this is exactly the process I would be using to install my Arch. To be honest, he taught me how to install what I call my Arch Linux, my vanilla Arch. I learned, I'll tell you the experience. Prior to this, I had a problem. I was using one of the Debian spins. I can't remember which one it was. May have been MX Linux. And I had installed a program using package build called Make MKV. And it was a DVD ripping software. I guess that's what you would call it. It enabled you to make copies of your DVDs. Well, I decided I wanted to uninstall it. But for some reason, because of the method, which came right off of the web page, it wouldn't even see Make MKV. It wouldn't even see it on my system, so I couldn't uninstall it unless I knew exactly where everything was and I could just go and manually install it. It was on my system. So I'd been watching YouTube videos like crazy, and Colin over at PCTLC made the mistake of saying, if you need help on something, ask me and I'll help you. And I immediately got online, tried to describe to him the best I could, provided the links to him so he could look and see what I did himself. And at the time, I didn't know about virtual boxes. And I think what happened was he tried the method in a virtual box. He couldn't figure it out, but he put the word out. And I knew that he was the kind that if he had a problem, he'd put it out and let everybody help him. And that worked to my benefit. He made a video actually about, this is how we installed it. How do we get rid of it? Unfortunately, there was not many answers. but by then I had already passed. So while I was in my correspondence with Colin, I had mentioned to him that I had discovered Mr. Eznixs' channel and that he had posted his actual, it's not a script at that point, it was just called a doc or a guide, if you would. It was a guide that Mr. Eznix had a guide on Arch Linux and posted it for everybody to share and use. And that's how I got started, kind of, because at that point I had already got interested in Arch Linux, and I failed many times, not many times, I failed several times with my desktop because I didn't put .service on the end of light DM. systemctl enable light period service. And I left out the .service because none of the videos I watched and none of the documentation that I watched explained that. Somehow or another, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I discovered the correct way through Mr. Eznix's guide. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And I don't know what else to say about the system. I can just tell you that the man himself behind this system, making Arch Linux easy for not only you, but for anybody to install Arch Linux and have a good system up and running. Like I said, I didn't have to install a codec one, a streamer one, a transcoder, anything. I did install my preferred applications. Big deal. That's what people do. You can get the most bloated system in the world, and there'll be something on there that you don't have, and you'll download it and install it. I guarantee you, not many systems have everything. Slackware comes close to that. It almost has everything. It has a bunch, as if you'll remember. It was over 15 gigs, if I'm not mistaken, just on the default install. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to call this a video. If you want to run Arch Linux and the wiki scares you, or you just want something fast to follow, that's incredible. You don't have to do all that research. You can just copy and paste or follow and type. That's all you got to do. Run the script. You don't have to do none of that. Just answer some questions. Highly recommend getting Arch Linux. If you're interested in Arch Linux, check out Mr. Eznix's guides over here. And I'll make sure all these links get in the video description or possibly as titles. There's a lot to cover. Thanks so much for watching. Mr. Eznix, God bless you, brother. You're doing a good job for everybody. And if nobody else appreciates you, Life Home and My Linux Journeys absolutely does. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Bye.